We're all in business for a reason. The problem that so many small business owners have is they go in 10 million different directions, not really sure which way to go. Listen as your team of experts, Jennifer Glass and Patricia Reszetylo, go through what you need in your business to really make it stand out and benefit you. Because it's the bottom line that matters. Hello and welcome to another episode of It's the Bottom Line That Matters podcast, where we are dedicated to your success. If this is the first time you're checking us out, thank you so much for checking us out. If you are a returning listener, thank you so much for continuing to go on this crazy ride with Patricia and me. On our show today, we are going to be talking about local businesses and how you really can focus your efforts on the local positioning that can really get even more value for you in your business. And what we're going to be doing is we are going to be breaking this down into several different episodes, though, because there is a lot of information that we are going to be covering in terms of what we are going to be helping you with as we move forward from here. And so we don't want to overwhelm you. And we are therefore going to be breaking it down into smaller chunks to make it easier for you to really take one or two ideas from each of the next couple of episodes and implement in your business, try, and then move on to something more going forward from there. With that said, today we're going to be focusing on Google Business Profiles and reviews. And we'll deal with the rest of this stuff later. So first of all, Patricia, as I bring you in on the conversation, let me ask you, when it comes to your Google Business Profile page, we're not even looking at reviews yet. What, if anything, have you been doing for your GBP page? And
for
by the way,
myself, I
GBP
haven't.
is Google Business Profile.
Right. For myself, I have not yet done anything. Nothing. But I have been learning about it, in part because I am still in the process of starting a local restaurant. And so I get information from people who do things for restaurants when I'm online. And one of the things that I have seen is that there is a strategy where a local restaurant can have a more powerful Google business page. And it works more effectively than even a chain or a national conglomerate type restaurant would have. Yes, they've got more money to pour into everything. Are they going to do a local thing better? No, they aren't. From my business perspective, my coaching and my consulting and my marketing perspective, I think there's several reasons for this. One, the little local independent business can actually dial in to the community. They dial in on what it is that they serve, what service they provide, stuff they do, how they serve. That's the word I'm looking. How they serve their community much better than a big national kind of chain is ever going to be able to do. A big national chain with locations in 150 places, they don't have the resources to dial in on each of those neighborhoods. You, however, know your neighborhood and you know the people and you know what they like and that you know what they dislike, and you've dialed into some niche, hopefully, which you can now exploit using your Google business profile.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I will add to that, though, is also the importance of really putting as much information out on your business profile page, because Google is using a lot of that information to really drive more results. What Google is looking for is, what are you putting out in terms of your services, your products, your hours? Do you have special accommodations? Are you welcoming to everyone, not welcoming to everyone? Things along those lines, you can definitely be putting it out. I mean, one of the things, and I'll throw this out there as an example, Google even has a thing. Are you LGBTQ friendly or not? Some businesses are going to explicitly say no, right? Think about all the cases that went to the Supreme Court that said we don't want to serve those people. So you get the idea in terms of what can you put out there. So that way, if I am in a particular group, if I am handicapped as an example, and you are not accessible, I know that I cannot go to your place of business. And there's all those kinds of things. And that's a completely different issue. We're not getting into the legality of the ADA or anything along those lines. But when it comes down to all of those ideas, though, it is important. And you want to be putting out as much information as possible. And the other thing also is Google allows you to put posts on your business profile page too. Don't
Yes.
neglect that. Put information out there. Make it look like you are sharing information about the business. If you have a team, take pictures of the team. If you have products or services that you offer, show what it is that you have. If you're the restaurant, like Patricia was saying, show your food. These are all things that can dramatically improve the results that you are looking for the effort that you are putting in on Google. Now, we're not talking about AI. We're not talking about anything else. We'll include that in future episodes. But as far as the Google Business Profile page is concerned, you want to build that out as much as possible. And the other thing that I will say is do not assume it's a set it and forget it option,
Oh,
right? That is one of the most
absolutely.
important things I would say
Absolutely.
that you need to check on, because people will make edits to your page and Google will make suggestions to your page. If you don't accept those or reject those, it may not work in your favor, because you may end up having the complete opposite of what it was that you just had. I went in personally in my own business just last week and I saw Google made a suggestion that was not what I wanted. And so I had to reject that suggestion. And it was only because I was going in to modify something on my page that I saw that. And again, it is something really important to remember as we go down that path. So, Patricia, let me ask you before we move on to reviews, which is the next piece that we're going to be covering today. Is there anything else on the Google Business Profile page that you want to make sure our listeners are really paying attention to?
Yeah, you have to treat it in a very similar fashion to the rest of your social media. You want to make regular posts. They have to be relevant. Um, they need to know that you're still active. You need to double check your contact information every once in a while just to make sure it's still correct. Like this morning, I tried to make a phone call and it was a wrong number. This number does not exist or will not connect or something like that. And I'm like, what? No. Yeah. So I had to call it 800 number, which I didn't want to do. I wanted to talk to the local bank, but whatever. Yeah. Treat it like it's social media because regular updates are important.
100%. I'm just going to add one more thing about the phone number. How you present the phone number. In other words, is it one dash area code dash the first three numbers dash the last four numbers? Is it area code dash three numbers dash four numbers? Is it area code dot three numbers dot four numbers? Area code in parentheses, whatever it is, you need to make sure that the information that you're putting in is exactly the same across the internet. Because for Google to know that this is your business, you need that information to match. And that was just on the phone number. It is the exact same thing on the address, the exact same thing on the website. whatever information you are putting out there must match down to dotting the I's and crossing the T's, if you will, the
Yeah.
information that is elsewhere available, including on your website. Because if Google sees a disconnect, it does not know area code dash is the exact same thing as parentheses area code dash, because
Yeah.
Google sees it as two different things. Yes, it's smart enough to understand the difference, but it's still not smart enough to discern what it is you're trying to do. And so if you are trying to mess it up, Google is just going to assume it is something different. And
Yeah.
then results will vary.
Yes. And so for that kind of information, have a document somewhere that has all of that kind of information in one standard format that you can copy and paste into whatever place you need it to be, so that you have one source of truth, so that you aren't, oh, well, it had this little fiddly dot in here. Oh, we abbreviated this thing. Or, oh, how come it doesn't know that? Right. Have a document that everybody who has access to putting information out has access to. This is the phone number. Use it like this. This is the address. Use it like this.
And I'm going to
Yeah.
take it one step further from there. On that same document, put down the places that you put that information out on, because when you need to
Yes.
update information, it's a lot easier already
Oh,
knowing exactly where that information is, as opposed to first having to start researching it. I will say though, because I don't want you coming back and saying, well, there's services that'll do that for me. Yes, there are. There are a couple of services that will do that for you. Among them is Yext, Yext, and they are one of the bigger services that will make sure the information, the NAP information, name, address, phone, is the same across the web. But you can certainly do it on your own. Yext is certainly going to be easier in that regard, though. So if you are interested, that is certainly something that is possible for what it is that you are doing. Moving on, though, when we think about reviews, that is the other thing that Google is really paying a lot of attention to. Reviews, you know it as well as we do, reviews are so important for businesses. Now, I will say we have a review management platform, Recommend Station. Patricia, I know you are a client on that as well. But when it comes down to reviews, it is so important to be getting reviews. And what you need to be doing is you need to be following local regulations when it comes to reviews. In other words, don't be blocking somebody giving you a 1-star review or a 5-star review. Don't be paying people to give you reviews, things along those lines that are going to get you in trouble with the regulators, because we do not want you getting into trouble for that. That is a reminder. If you are currently doing it, stop, because you have to make sure you are in compliance with the rules. Putting that aside, though, when you are looking at reviews, getting those reviews, asking for reviews, every opportunity you have are so important. So, Patricia, let me ask you, and I know again, you said that you're in the process of starting that restaurant. You're also starting the marketing service that you're trying to do as well. So, reviews at the moment are not the same like they were years before and where you are going to be in the future. But when it comes to reviews, what are your thoughts on that?
well, I see people who want all the good reviews and they stress like crazy when they get a bad review. So the first thing that I have seen being important, especially on like a Google business profile like that, is go in there and respond to each of them. Respond to the good ones. Thank you. I was so glad you loved our service. Respond to the bad ones. And that's going to take a bit more. It takes a little more creativity, because sometimes you get reviews that are really uncalled for. The person may not have even been a customer. And you need to call them out. You need to do it in a good, creative way, but you need to call those people out because people do look at reviews. They are important. And, they can't always tell what's a valid review and what is not. So you have to call them out if they give you a uncalled for review. If it was called for, find a way to thank them and make sure that you update whatever it is you need to update so that that problem doesn't occur anymore. I read a story on Facebook, and being it was on Facebook and whom it was about, I don't know if it was real or not. But so the story is that Keanu Reeves went into one of his restaurants, just kind of incognito, and he was ignored. He was shuffled. He was pushed aside. Nobody paid attention to him. And then he wondered why that was. So he started digging, and he found some memo from the new manager saying, "Oh, if the review is, below a certain star level, get rid of it." I don't know that you can do that on Google, but and don't tell Keanu that we did this. We don't need to bug him. So yeah, interesting story. And I don't know again if it's true or not. But you don't want something like that happening in your business because that's going to empty your restaurant or your other local small business. And you're not going to know why because somebody went over your head, made an executive decision, enforced it, and did not tell you. Yeah. It's lucky it was soft spoken Keanu and not me who he did this to.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Yes, it's definitely
I don't
important.
know what I would do with that.
Just like the undercover boss or shows like that as well, where the people
Yeah.
go in and, what are you doing? But when it comes to reviews, again, how you ask for it, how you're paying attention to it, and everything is so important. So, Patricia, let me ask you as we're wrapping up our conversation on reviews and the Google Business Profile to really help us, any final thoughts?
Systematize as much as you can possibly systematize. Systematize getting content and putting it up. Systematize responding to reviews, positive or negative. Systematize the way that you ask for that review. Because the more people that you can ask and the more ways in which you can ask them, the more likely they are to do it, especially if you make it very simple for them. So systematize.
Absolutely. Thank you. And so, like Patricia was saying, systematize, think about what it is that you're doing. Make sure that, again, like we mentioned in the past with SOPs, your standard operating procedures, make sure that what it is that you are doing is clear. There's a reason for what you're doing. You know what you're doing. It is replicatable across the entire business in the way that you're actually doing it. And you are going to see hopefully the success that you are trying to get. On that note, this has been another episode of It's the Bottom Line That Matters. And until next time, here is to your success. Thanks so much for listening to another amazing episode of It's the Bottom Line That Matters podcast. We're all about helping the small business community grow and reaching as many people as we can. And the algorithms on the podcast programs love reviews. So if you loved what you just heard, consider leaving us a review. And even if you don't, I'm sure you already did, but consider sharing our episodes and our podcast with your friends and colleagues. Sharing is caring, and here's to your success. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful day.
It's the bottom line that matters.